Welcome back for part 2 of our Lorella Springs adventure. In part 1 we had made it to the mouth of the Rosie River and caught some pretty awesome fish. We are now on the 13k trip back to camp. Because it's low tide, we know that all the rock bars will be exposed. What we don't know is how much they're going to be exposed and what options we have to get over them. After having to drag the boats in about 8 inches of water or less, we were pretty glad that the water is so clear, because some of these rocks have big teeth. One thing that has become very obvious to us is that there is absolutely no need for big horsepower motors, as you spend the majority of time at not much more than idle speed. This is for one very simple reason.
Come to the conclusion that in this river, horsepower is overrated. Where are you going to use it? You don't need horsepower.
Hitting one of these bommies at speed could mean a long walk back to camp. And remember what I just said about the rocks around here having teeth.
There's some big high ones coming up. There's big high bombies coming up. Just yeah, get out of the way first.
Rocks and crocs aren't the only hazards around here. Getting speared by a garfish is also a potential problem.
I can get hit, my guy. Yeah, that's it. That's home.
After 13 kilometres of rocks, crocs and out of control garfish, it was good to be back at camp. Gotten up early this morning so that we can catch the incoming tide. At this time of year the tides are only around 1.5 metres, but with all the fish we saw swimming around the rock bars yesterday morning, we're pretty keen to chuck a few lures around them.
Well, unfortunately, the old 4 horsepower's let me down. Looks like it's just not getting fuel under load, so started to come out this morning to fish those rocks that we came over yesterday, and the 4 horsepower started playing up on us. So I think it's just maybe some dirt or something in the carby, so we're going to take it back to camp. But unfortunately, I've had to suffer the embarrassment of being towed back to camp. These things happen, I guess. So we are officially under tow, officially broken down, and the boys are giving me shit about it. Anyway, that's camping. While we're heading over these rocks, Steve said, let's have a fish. Might as well. So here we are. There's so many rock ledges and rock holes and stuff around here. It's unbelievable. And yesterday we saw that many fish darting in and out and around. And they were good sized fish. So today, which was our plan, but I'm just doing it as a caboose. Under tow.
Yeah, we like to make the best out of whatever situation we find ourselves in. But after a couple of hours of throwing lures over rocks,
smashed, you're right.
Yeah.
under logs, and in the trees, we just couldn't seem to find any fish. So we figured we would head back to camp and see if we could revive the little 4 horsepower. Now that I've got the motor in the camp workshop, I can start stripping it down. And of course, I can rely on my mates for lots of helpful advice.
You'll have to pull all the throttle linkages off too.
That's just a
If
cable.
you do that next, you'll be right.
Don't forget your fuel line, Phil.
Disconnect the
Little
fuel.
clips on there, Phil.
Fuel line's off. The
Yep, pull the choke off too.
choke's
Choke
already
lever
off.
Come off. Same as, what is it, your start lever?
We're all over this.
I know.
Wind's picked up. No good for fishing.
It's
Might have to
choppy
do
now.
some service. Try not to tip it up, try and keep it flat. So we can see.
In there.
Yeah.
Although you should have a nice clean bench to work on.
That kitchen bench looks good.
We've got a stainless bench here for just such an occasion.
With the carby stripped down, blown out with compressed air to clear any potential blockages, and put back together again, it was time for the moment of truth.
So this is the Black Sea Anchor test run after full carby rebuild in the middle of nowhere. We need a bit of choke maybe.
Shouldn't do, mate. Shouldn't do.
Okay. Sounded more healthier. Getting there.
I run it too long out of the water.
And once again, the 4 horsepower lives. The next day, and we are back out to the mouth of the river. But this time, we find the wind has really picked up.
Fun times in a little boat. It's hard work.
With more time spent hanging on rather than fishing, we decided to head into some of the tributaries where we would be protected from the wind.
Yeah, it's become shallow. It's actually quite calm here, and then rips through, so I thought I'll try here, because there could be some big fish just sitting in the calm bit waiting for the small fish to wash down. In theory it's good. In theory it's good. Makes it sound like I know what I'm talking about.
The theory wasn't too far off, because a little further up the creek, and Steve-O was on.
Little Jackie Little Jack.
And then it was my turn.
Yeah, take it. Thank you. Little Jack. Little Jackie. Little Jackie's tying himself up in knots. Little Jackie's just too small.
And a short time later,
Yep. Oh, yeah. Yes. Little Jack. I saw something else swimming around in there too. That's a little cod. My turn for some small little cod. Oh, something's had a go at that. He's got a big gash out of him, out of his side. So I don't know what had to go. What's that?
You playing Jack?
Nah, playing with the cod, but he's got a huge gash out of him, like something took a bite out of him. Poor little fella. Anyway, we'll have to throw him back regardless. He's had a hard day. Hopefully he'll repair himself or he'll get eaten.
and then it was Brett's turn, with a fish that we eventually put down to being a funny looking trevally.
Silver. It's a good start. Queenie. Trevally. Can't tell. Oh, that's
Like I said, a funny looking trevally.
another little cod. See him swimming around in there. It's a little rat cod.
With all these fish being undersized, it was time to come up with a new plan.
Where to next?
I don't know. You tell me where the fish are, we'll go there.
We getting any?
Nah, I had a little Jack come. He come up behind me, little like raced out and then stopped and just followed it for a bit and took off. I think he decided the lure was too big for him.
Oh well, we get out of here and keep coming back.
Yeah, might have to think about it because I don't know how much fuel. I think I've got one full tank left in that drum.
Yeah, I'm under half.
So
Probably should start heading
just working our way back.
Yeah.
So the plan is to start heading back to camp and stop to fish any likely looking spots. But first, we still have some rock bars to tackle. We are fortunate that the tides are about an hour later today. This means that the extra water should make it a little easier to get across. And I do mean only a little bit.
Watch that doesn't tip you over.
trick here is to find the small channels that are carved through the rock that are just deep enough to clear the prop. You also need the prop far enough in the water to give you forward momentum. After successfully negotiating the worst of the rock bars, we came across a nice looking log that just had to have fish in it.
Yep. Oh, missed him. Jesus. Oh, he's had two at it already. He hooked up that second time and then spat it. I reckon he's barra. Because you can feel as soon as he hooks up, he shakes.
Now, while I'm constantly scanning the water for anything hazardous, sometimes the surprises come from above. And after confirming that there are no fish in the trees, I thought I'd better try the water again.
Oh! Yep, there we got him. Woohoo! Woohoo! Yeah! Well, for dinner, boys. I saw him come out, and then he had another chop at it. In the trees, barra for dinner. Now, who's got an esky?
Now, negotiating the boat out of the snags while holding a barra takes a certain kind of skill, one which I clearly do not have.
Motor.
Now, with my barra safely in Steve-O's esky and me still in my boat, Brett had managed to find another fish off the same snag.
There you on him. Ah, hold the rod tip down. Don't let it. Yeah. Just keep the pressure on him. Keep the pressure on him.
Down the hold the rod down, lower.
Yeah, you get your land in there.
Freddie's got a barra.
Freddie got a barra.
Everybody's got a barra.
Everyone's got a barra, but I think we better check Freddie's.
Yeah, I think
It's gone back.
Get it? Will you get it?
Yeah.
Hey! Good.
One barra for Freddie.
And so ended another fantastic day of fishing. Today will be our last day at the Rosie River, but instead of relaxing, we find ourselves in a search and rescue mission.
Yesterday afternoon, I decided to take the drone for a bit of a spin. Thought I would try and get some nice sunset shots. And then I went for a bit of a cruise down the river with it, because we got some neighbours next to us camping that had been out the boat all day and it was getting late. I thought, we'll just see if they're coming back, you know. Got to about 2 k's, I couldn't see them. Spun the thing around and said, right, I'll return home. And it just stalled. It just stopped there, it just wouldn't fly anywhere. It was still flying, but it just wouldn't move. And we think it might be the sensors on it because it was so dark. It didn't want to return. So, meanwhile, running the battery down pretty low. Eventually, I got it to move. After a lot of panic, but it got within about 579 metres of camp and did a forced land into the scrub. So I've raced out. Just the GoPro app does sort of show you its last position. So, sorry, not the GoPro app, the drone app. And got to where it should have been, but it was pitch black. I was doing it under torchlight and couldn't find it, so I marked that on the GPS. I've still got it all on the app, which is good. So now we're following through the scrub to see if we can do a daylight rescue mission. As a precaution, we also loaded the drone's last known coordinate into Brett's handheld GPS, and with Brett in the lead, we pushed through the scrub to where we will hopefully find the missing drone. We're only 200 metres away from it. We're only 200 metres away.
Once we had made it to the search zone, we split up to look for the drone. At this stage, we didn't know if it had made it to the ground or if it was still stuck at the top of a tree. But then I heard an encouraging call from Steve-O.
Found it?
And there it was.
Any damage? Looks like it's all in one piece.
With no obvious
still on
signs of damage, this was one very lucky drone.
Thank you, boys.
Breakfast time it is.
And now we're on the move again. Well, we left Rosie Creek Camp a little while ago. We've made a short detour. A bit bumpy. Made a short detour to a small billabong that Brett found the other day. We went for a bit of a scout on the bikes. We found this billabong with some water in it. So we've managed to fill up our tanks this morning.
water tanks. They're water out at these places at Rosie and where we're heading to now. There is no fresh water whatsoever. It's all just brackish seawater. So you've got to carry what you can in, and if you use a fair bit, you run out quick.
With Brett out the front on the bike, investigating any of the little side tracks, he managed to find another thermal spring.
Yeah, it's not a bad spring. It's going to come down for the swim. I think it'll be good for that. And also it's, good.
Righto, sounds like a plan. So we might be off for a swim. Woohoo! I'm looking forward to that for a few days, I tell you. While we're cruising along on these tracks, we're keeping an eye out for Brett's motorbike tracks. He generally sticks to the centre bit because the wheel tracks where all the four drives go, obviously that's where it gets churned up the most. It becomes the deepest, softest sort of sand. He sticks up on the high bit in the middle. It's a lot harder, a lot easier for him to ride. And you can see spots where he's fucking on diving and carrying on from the soft sand. But I'm keeping an eye on it because for any reason it goes darting off into the bush, I need to stop and check to make sure he hasn't come off and hurt himself and can't get to the radio. So it's the way of keeping an eye out for him, I guess.
And as it turns out, Brett did come off right at the end of the track, straight in the middle of a dam. This is yet another one of Lorella's hot springs. The crystal clear water that flows up from the pipe is just what we needed for a bit of a tub.
Yeah, you're not supposed to bring the verticals with you. Don't you know I'm turning the tool?
While we were having our lunch, old mate turned up and thought he'd join us, only he wasn't interested in our salad wraps. He was after some of the water beetles that live in this spring. Swimming amongst the algae are literally hundreds of these water beetles, and this bloke reckons they're fantastic tucker. After his lunch, old mate hung himself out to dry, which gave us a great idea.
So while we're stopped here at the at Alaska Hot Springs, we decided we'd better do some washing. And for that we need a twin tub. Hence the 2 buckets. This is our twin tub. So how do we do it? Well, the first tub is obviously just to rinse the dirt and muck off your clothes. So just stick it in there and give it a little bit of a wash, just to get all the dust and stuff out of them. So nothing too major. The second one, what we do is you fill up about 3/4, 2/3, somewhere around there. You need a little bit of an airspace. Now your washing goes in, rinsing off. Washing goes in here. Then you get your washing powder or your washing detergent, which I have some here. And I don't know, about a cap for a load. I guess this constitutes a load. Throw a little bit in. Bit of agitation. Then I'll put the lid on and strap it to the roof racks. While you're driving along, gets a nice washy action. When we get to camp, give it a bit of a rinse. I'll take a second bucket full of water, rinse them out, hang them up, good to go.
Yeah, who said this domestic stuff had to be a chore? Especially when you can do it while looking for the next fishing spot.
These creeks, when you come up on them, you start driving up on them, you come around a bend, whatever, and there it is, starts opening up, you get a glimpse through the trees, and they just look absolutely awesome. like just snags and stuff on the side where the fish should be holding, and they're always so full of promise. I just hope that they live up to that promise. But this is one of the spots where they told us that they weren't catching any fish. So we'll see how we go, because we like to try our own luck with these things.
Get a copy, Phil?
Yeah, Brett. On a track somewhere?
Yeah, have you come across the first river campsite yet?
Yeah, I think we've gone past a few of them.
Yeah, you might want to pull up and have a little think about it, because there's a lot of sand out here. And I've just been talking to a couple of people, and they're saying there's nothing out here, as well as past some rock bars.
Righto, we've just hit a spot that sort of starts to open out onto the flats a little bit, so we'll stop here and have a bit of a conference.
Yeah, right, yeah, look, I'm going to try and make it back. I'll be a little while because it's pretty hard going. There's a lot of sand, it's really a lot of soft sand. When you come up to the head, it's really, really shitty sand. And there's not really many places once you get up here to turn around.
Righto, we'll wait for you to come back and we'll have a talk about it. Well, there you go.
After a few happy snaps and once Bretto had returned, we came up with another plan.
Right, the plan is to head out here to the beach, see what it looks like, see whether it's worth staying, camping or what. If not, we'll head back to some campsites back there. Some nice spots in that river, but it might be a bit hard to get the boats into, so too high up on the bank. But we'll have a look at all our options and deal with it the best we can. Sounds good to me.
And with that, it was full steam to the beach. Well, sort of.
Bogged it. So let some tire pressures down, I think. Alright. Tire pressures down. Low range, first gear. See if we can pull out. Into a big hole, now we have to get the max tracks out. That would have been drastic.
Didn't help when you were dragging diffs and water tanks and everything?
No, she was down a bit. Now the tyre pressure's down to my normal beach pressures. Should mean that anything else we get onto, any other soft stuff, it'll just sit on top. It won't bury it in the first place. If we're lucky.
Fortunately, luck was on our side, and we had no more trouble in the soft sand, and managed to find a great little camp spot. Now remember earlier when Brett said over the radio that the fella he spoke to told him there was nothing out here? Well people, this is what nothing looks like in the NT Golf Country. Tomorrow, we will explore this magnificent coastline in the tinnies, but for now, there was a certain little chore we had to finish. With the arrival of a new day came the excitement of a new place to explore. But first, as always, we had to get the boats to the boat ramp. If you're wondering why we camp so far from the water's edge, it's because unlike Rosie Creek, we don't have a high embankment between us and the snapping handbacks. Camping about 80 metres from the water meant we don't have to worry about Brett sleeping in his swag, just his riding skills. Now that both tinnies are in the drink, let's check this place out.
If the island's calm, let's go and have a look out here, then we can...
Sounds good to me.
Otherwise we might get out here again.
Yeah. How clear is this water?
Oh, look at it.
The sea life swimming in these shallow, crystal clear waters has to be seen to be believed.
There's another inlet up here. Great water.
Oh, shit, yeah. Absolutely. That one just there.
Yeah, I reckon there's one up there. It shows it on the map. I don't know how far it is.
6 kilometres.
6 k's.
That's a bit far for a tide. I don't know how this is going to go.
Yeah, well, we're lucky at the moment. The tide's still coming in. We'll have deep water, but...
Alright.
So I reckon we can just go straight through here.
Yeah, just around a little bit. Just go around there a little bit.
Yeah.
And
Let's race up there and have a look. It's no good to look back. It doesn't take us long to do 6 k's.
nah, not with a full horse on.
Let's go.
So once again, it was time to crank up that 4 horsepower. Now remember back on the Rosie when those out of control garfish were jumping across the front of the boat? Well, out here, things get a whole lot bigger. That was a shark, and I guess he was pretty excited that we came for a visit. A bit further along, we found we had less water and more sharks.
They're just everywhere, aren't they?
We're on the bottom here.
I had a ray come flying around, went underneath and hit the motor. I don't think it's going to get any deeper in there.
So we started to head back to the mouth of the creek where we were camped, as the water was much deeper there. But on the way, I came across something that would be great for dinner.
Just cruising these flats here. I've just managed to spear myself a crab. Not a bad size one either. Just looking to see if there's any more around. Tide's come up, so they're just cruising around in the shallows. There was another one here a minute ago, I don't know where he went. There he is. Missed him. One crab for dinner. Nice. So you want to get my spear now? Two good sized ones. These are the advantages of having such a small boat. I'm in literally about 6 inches of water, spearing crabs. I don't get much better than that, I tell you.
Except maybe to have some fish to complement the crabs, and Brett was only too happy to oblige.
Going to sea. You might want to chase him, Steve. Steve, chase it. Yeah, until he snaps him off.
That's pretty blue off the hook that's in the fish. Look at that.
Is it cleaning? Ep2 not hold, mate.
Being the hungry blokes that we are, I reckon we're gonna need another one.
Got some pull on him. Little golden trevally. Off the surface lure. Always fun. Leader. What was that? Nice old golden trevally.
One thing that you need to remember when you're exploring places like the top end is that it can be pretty tough on your gear, and eventually something will fail.
Shit. Might need all that. Good old travel rod, eh? I think it's had one too many fishes. Because that ain't gonna happen anymore.
So with the rod giving up the ghost, it was time to head back for a lazy night around the campfire, because tomorrow, Steve-O's got something pretty special planned. Today's adventure involves something just a little bit different. You see, just behind our campsite, Steve-O noticed that we had our very own airstrip. Well, that's great, mate. Now all we need is our own plane. Well, as it turns out, Steve-O's got that sorted too. You didn't think the trailer on the back of the Ocker was for some sort of giant coffee machine, did you? No, the trailer was purpose built for Steve-O's microlight, and this strip of treeless salt flat makes for the perfect runway.
Let's go.
Baggies on.
Clip rope.
There aren't too many words that can describe the feeling of flying above this part of the country in little more than a go-kart strapped to a triangle and a tarp. The view is absolutely spectacular, and physically being up here is something that no drone could ever recreate. Soaring high above the clouds was like floating across a sea of cotton wool, and an experience like no other. And then, dropping back through the fluffiness, the stunning landscape that is the Northern Territory is revealed once again. The beauty of this place speaks for itself. It really does demonstrate just why we all have a duty to care for and nurture not only places like this, but every single one of the locations that we all love to visit and enjoy. Doing so will mean that people will be able to reconnect with nature long after we've all been turned to soil. But here at Lorella Springs, with 1 million acres to explore, we know we have barely even scratched the surface of all the things there are to see. For now though, as with all good things, our time here has come to an end.
Well, We're back at the Lorella Springs campground after, well, I'd have to say, a pretty fantastic trip. We've been out for about 2 weeks. Well, it's been pretty well smack on 2 weeks out in the wilderness, fully self-sufficient and having an absolute ball. It wasn't easy going in some places, but most of it's not too bad. There's a bit of sand and stuff around, but you know, no worries. But this is where my journey ends. Tomorrow means I've got to spend the next 5 days or so, 3,000 Ks back home. These boys, well, Steve's off to chase the morning glory at, what is it, Burketown? Burketown, yeah. So if you don't know what the morning glory is, Google it, Burketown morning glory. He's going to fly his plane around there and they'll have a ball doing it. Now for me, in this place, I was told before I left, I was absolutely nuts to bring an 8-foot tinny and head out into croc country. But how good was the fishing?
Fishing was unreal.
Fair dinkum.
Best fishing we've had anywhere yet.
That's it. So it was worth it. And the crocs, well, they didn't worry us. We obviously weren't that much of a meal. So we did see a few big ones. Steve-O saw a bloody big croc right where we were fishing while he was flying out the other morning.
Yeah, sneaking up into a creek there, about a 5 metre, just sneaking around where we were chasing all our barra, which, yeah, very impressive. I'm glad we were leaving on the day and weren't fishing that day, so it was quite good.
That's it. So, so they're around. They're certainly around. They certainly look for you. But yeah, this is where the journey ends. So I'm off tomorrow. The next adventure will happen and Wayno will be back. So we'll make sure of that. But until then, well, look after Australia. Don't destroy what you came to enjoy, and we'll catch you on the next adventure.
See you all.
Thank you much. G'day, and welcome to the second episode of DB Adventures. You may have already noticed that someone's missing. Always. Watching a little croc swim around over here last night. Just see his eyes cruising along. He just sat on near the bank for ages, and then after a while he decided to start heading towards us, trying to work out what the torches were at first.
Oh boy, you're lucky Michelle's not here. This place is a pigsty!